Hi, I'm Kevin Brown, and I wanted to do my analysis on the song Blackbird by the Beatles. Um, I'm not great at editing software or anything, so I decided the easiest way to actually for me to do it and explain the song in a way that I can is to have the music in front of me, but to show you on the guitar how to, like, not just playing it and how to play it, but also some things that I find interesting that reflect certain parts of the song. Um, in terms of history, I think it's really cool to mention that Blackbird was inspired by a song, like a piece, Bure in E minor. It was by Johann Sebastian Bach, and it was something that George Harrison and Paul McCartney liked to play. They liked the piece a lot because it would alternate and it would use the bass notes and melody notes at the same time on the high and low strings. At that time, it was a lute piece when it was written, but then it was later involved to use classical guitar, and they would use it to impress people as sort of like an impression piece. Something that's really interesting, and it's something that's reflected in Blackbird when you play. It's using the bass note at the same time. So you're playing, for example, it starts off on a G, it moves to an A minor. When the singing starts, that's actually an A minor 7, the way the chord comes out. And then it does a lot of variations on G after that one. So you're playing G, and then you're playing the high G here. You're playing that together, and it's sort of similar throughout the song. The reason that Blackbird was written was because of the social economic issue, the 1960s, the racism issue that was going on. Obvious. It was sort of a reflection of how they wanted that sort of freedom that wasn't really granted to Black people, and so they made the song as sort of a commentary on that. The Beatles were very adamant against that, and segregated audiences in particular. They refused, in any of their tours, they refused to play in front of segregated audiences. So when the song was written, it was a direct commentary on Black African American crowds and how they wanted them to be integrated into the song. And I think it kind of reflects both that and the sort of bird theme, if that kind of makes sense, the way the song kind of flutters around chords and stuff. It's very, like, it's not just that it plays the, which sounds like a bird taking flight, but then it goes all the way up here to another variation on G. And then the strumming pattern changes. And I like that after that it feels like sort of like a bird moving through like the wind and stuff. Like, I like the way the song kind of does that, and I like the way that it reflects in these like lyrics, such as the ideal of it's like the ideal of a bird in a cage, and sort of that like hurt feeling. I like it sort of reflects that in the way that song kind of falls. Like later on, you hear it I like the strumming. I know I mentioned that the strumming pattern sort of has that reflection of like a fluttering wings, or sort of like flapping wings. Um, but also, I think it's another cool thing that the song, given that it's in G, it has that sort of like a root note that you play throughout the song that sort of keeps it consistent. So whenever you're playing a chord, you're always going to hear the straight note G on with the flat note on the string. So that I played it pretty loud there. It's played throughout the entire song. So whenever you play chords, beyond that, I also like how the song uses a lot of sevenths. It uses a lot of variations on the chords. So, like, for example, it uses at one point when it says "Take these broken wings and learn to fly." I like that sort of like hopscotch kind of pattern. It sounds sort of childlike. It sounds like, because Paul McCartney later commented on this, and it wasn't just supposed to be about like Blackbird. It was also supposed to be sort of a variation on. He was saying it was like similar to Black Girl, and it was like children, and it sort of reflects that sort of like childlike nature, the way it sort of like bounces back and forth. I like the way it like sort of moves like that. That sort of like back and forth. It sounds, again, like children, or like a bird sort of situation. In fact, there are only like 3 different sounds playing at the same time in this song. Whenever it's played live, there are only 3 instruments. It's a drum kit that's just playing a steady like beat, like 4/4, just a tick 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 tick. It's Paul McCartney singing, and it's the guitar. And in the recording, the only thing that's added that's different to that is bird noises, like bird singing and stuff. So it's a pretty simple song, but it's also kind of difficult. It took me a very long time to learn this. And it wasn't until like I was a couple years playing it as a guitar major that I eventually figured it out. But they use a lot of variations on the seventh. So for example, in that like jumping, I've been trying to get at this for like 20 minutes. The like variation is that it uses like C chords and then moves to like C sharp / A7, or A7 / C sharp, then moves to a D7, then a B7 / D sharp, then an E minor, then a C minor / E flat. It does not, like, even though it sticks to G, that like key, it builds off of that, and it's something that the Beatles are very commonly known to do with their music. For example, Here Comes the Sun is like extremely difficult, and the variations on it, they don't stick to like the key. They move around a lot, and something that's not very common in pop music or rock music, I find. But it's something that they did, and I think they were extremely talented. I don't know what else to comment on based on that. I like some of the pauses in between. So like, I like how it moves constantly. So there's a part where I'm about to get right back to it. Something I think that also should be mentioned, that this song is credited to the Beatles, but it was written by like mainly John Lennon and Paul McCartney. John Lennon, it says the words and music was written by John Lennon, but I'm pretty sure most of it was actually done in the sheet music that I have in front of me, but I'm pretty sure most of it was done by Paul McCartney. And that was something that was pretty common for the Beatles. They would separate in terms of the workload. A lot of it was done, most of it was done between John Lennon and Paul McCartney, but it was usually one member that would write and perform a specific piece. So, for example, Here Comes the Sun, it's labeled as a Beatles song. This song is also labeled as a Beatles song, but in particular, the credit goes to a particular member. Here Comes the Sun is particularly George Harrison. This song is particularly Paul McCartney. I don't know much by Ringo and John, and I wish I did, but I don't. But yeah, this song is, I like it a lot. It's extremely peaceful. I like the way it like kind of flutters. It keeps a theme, and even though it sounds simple, there's a lot to it, and I enjoy that. But that's it. Thank you.